going to tackle the animation part for Buck's face, but I wanted to show you something first. As I was just clicking around just to try to get my score higher, you'll notice that this score box isn't wide enough, and then so it's kind of making a second line. And over here in the scene view, you'll see that if I stretch this out, it fixes it. And since I'm in play mode, when I unplay it, it's going to go back to the way it was. So I hit play, and it goes back to the way it was. So you can, now that it's not in play mode, you could stretch it out. And if you want the text to be like set to the right, you could play around with the alignment. You have to have this. You could set it to the left, to the right, if you want it justified to the right on the alignment, or centered, however you want to do it. Okay, now moving on to the animation. So we're going to be dealing with Buck himself. If you double click Buck, it zooms in on it. Okay, I'm swiping out to zoom out. I have this animator window here that we'll be using. If you don't have that, you can go to Window, Animation, and you could find the animator. That's the animation window, which is this one here. Okay, now let's set up a few things first. In the project, let's make in the project folder, in the assets folder, let's make a new folder. We're going to right click and say create a folder, and we'll call it animations or animation. Okay, and let's double click to go inside of that. And now let's make, so we need a couple of different things to actually animate something in Unity. We have to add a component called an animator, and so you could just click add component and start typing animator right there. And so we have a component, and now we need a controller. So we need a controller for this animator. They actually literally call that. I'm going to right click in here. We're going to say create. We'll go down to animation. They call that an animator controller. Gets a little confusing. We're going to say Buck controller dash controller. Okay, that name sorry, isn't going to get controlled by code from us, so your name, if it's not exactly the same, that's okay. So when you select the Buck in his animator window, it now has some stuff in there. You have any state, which is kind of neat. When you make a first animation, that'll be its first entry point animation. Anyway, when we have Buck selected, we need to now drag this controller into this spot right there. Okay, so we're kind of set up. We don't have any animations. We don't have any images for the animations yet. We're gonna do a sprite animation. So let's go back to the assets for a second. And do we have a folder for images? Yes, we do. Okay, so let's just create a couple real quick. We're just gonna do the wrong answer face for now. So I'm gonna go back to Illustrator, and I'm gonna copy and paste this guy. Let me move this one out of the way, this little test I was doing, I guess. Let me see, copy this. I'm gonna copy, Command C and Command V, and just move it over here. And this is gonna be, when he gets it wrong, I'm simply gonna like rotate. You make it however you want. I could literally just make it, flip it upside down, maybe put his eyebrow down. He's a little bummed out. And then maybe drop the hat and the text. Okay, I'm gonna go simple for now. Maybe I'll put one more thing. I will put a red X on it to kind of let the, I'm just typing an X, and then I'm going to enlarge it. You don't have to do this X, so don't worry about having an X on there. I'm just, why isn't it red? Okay, I'm just putting one there just to kind of emphasize that it was wrong. Okay. Okay, so now I'm gonna copy this. Now I saved my Photoshop document from before, so I'm copying from Illustrator and I'm pasting into here. Keep it as a smart object, hit OK, and now you'll see that I have a new layer. The great thing about vector art is when I enlarge this now, it does not get pixelated at all. And that's why we use Illustrator for this kind of stuff. And then you hit return on your keyboard. Okay, I'll uncheck this to make sure. It's not exactly the same size. You can see that there's some space there. And the cool thing is, if I resize it yet again, it does not lose its, it doesn't get pixelated. Okay, so anyway, so there we have it, and we're gonna go File, Export, Quick Export as PNG, and we're gonna go all the way. We're gonna go Buckface wrong. We'll just say wrong. Could go sad or whatever you want to call it. I'm just gonna say wrong because it's gonna go for the wrong animation. Now let's go back into here. Select Buck. Let's open up the animation folder so we can see some. Select Buck, and we are going to now create a couple of animations. We're going to say create new animation. We'll say Buck idle first. Buck idle, and we're in the animation folder already. You can navigate to whatever folder you need to be into, and then hit save, and then it starts. So it's going to start there. Okay, and in Buck idle, there's nothing going on yet, so we're going to go to the images folder, and we're actually going to drag in our original Buck drawing there. It's at 60 frames per second. We could change this sample rate. If you need to find that sample rate, it is in this little dots here. There's framed, show sample rate. If I uncheck it, it disappears. Your computer might be like that. Show sample rate. Okay, you could adjust that. Let's go 12 frames per second. And then I'm gonna copy this, Command C. I just pushed Command C. I click this top one, Command C, this little top diamond. Go to move to 12 and go Command V. So now I know I have 12 frames, and it takes 1 second worth of the idle stage, and it's just gonna keep looping, okay? But now let's create the wrong animation. So let's do that. So we go, we're gonna call this, we're gonna click this little down arrow, create a new clip, and we'll call it Buck Wrong. And that's gonna be the name of the animation, so that's important to know, Buck Wrong. Okay, Buck Wrong. Okay, because we're gonna call out that by name later. We have Buck Idle, Buck Wrong. Maybe it would be even better if I don't put the word Buck in there. Anyway, so we're gonna move this into here. I thought I was. Yep. What's missing? Did I not do something correct? Let's see. Ah, this is weird. Okay. When I imported my Buck face, the Buck Wrong one, it has, by default, it had it set, sprite mode set to multiple. You're gonna need to change that to single, because we're not slicing it up like we did in a previous game where we wanted it to be sliced up into multiple pieces. We're gonna select single, and then we just have to hit apply. Now it's one image. Okay, so we have the Buck Wrong animation set for us, and we're gonna just drag this into here now. And it's making me a liar. What did I mess up? Single type mesh. There's something that it doesn't like about this image here. Do we see a difference? I don't know that I see a difference right away. So let me make sure I have Buck selected. Oops. And go to Buck Wrong and drag it in there. Okay, that was weird. It was like there was a delay or something. Huh. And it is the wrong face. That's weird. Okay, so gonna set this to 12. I don't know if somebody knows I goofed that up and can explain why. Let me know. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this sprite here, go to frame 12, and then paste. So we have 1 second full of that. Okay, so our animation, we need to know the name of it. We called it Buck Wrong, and we said Buck Idle. Okay, so we're gonna tell it when we get the wrong answer, we're gonna tell this one to play. Okay, and then we'll probably have to cut the video and then continue on after that because we're getting a little long here. Okay, so let's do that from the math level 1 script. Okay, so we're gonna say we need to get an animator for Buck, and there's a few different ways. We could tell it to find the game object, then find its animator, or we can just go right to the animator. And we're going to say public animator, and we'll call it anim. A lot of people do that for short. They call the animator anim. Okay, and then when I hit save, it'll come over here, and there'll be a slot up here, and we could drag Buck into there, and it will connect to its animator. Okay, so we have none. Let's drag Buck in there. Okay, so now it knows where its animator is. Okay, and then so now let's just say when we get the wrong answer, right here when we got it wrong, let's just say anim dot play Buck wrong. And semicolon. Let's save it. Let's go back to Unity. And let's cross our fingers and hope this works. Okay, so I'll hit play. Let's get a wrong answer. And there he goes. He plays. Okay, great. Now it plays and it just loops there. So we can transition back after it plays. We'll hit Control, right click this, make transition, make it go back to idle. Let's see if that works. So we just made a transition. It goes back to idle when it's done playing for 1 full second. Okay, so that's the wrong answer. And then went back to idle. Okay? Maybe he's a little too happy for just, no, well, we'll make the happy one extremely happy when he gets the answer correct. Okay, so that's good for now. Let's cut this video, and then we'll make the really happy correct answer animation, and then we'll move it on to the final, tally up the score and everything. So let me just test the score box. See how it's not getting too, it's not making a second line because we stretch out that text box at the beginning of the video. Okay, let's go ahead and have fun making a good animation for the face, and have fun.